This is Chantay, so I'm here with a review of today's political headlines. I'm sorry that I'm late. I was supposed to start at 10:30, but you know, the times, right? So if you follow me on Instagram, that's great. You can always watch it if you miss it. You can always watch on my feed, or if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, the link is in my bio on Instagram, so, and on Twitter as well. So I'm just going to start with some COVID numbers for you all. So I'm just going to get right to it. All right. So global confirmed cases are as follows. We have 113,375,335. Global death toll is at 2,515,896. U.S. confirmed cases, 28,484,429. So that's 28,484,429 U.S. confirmed cases. That's almost 30,000. U.S. death toll is at 510,323. So we've been getting 3,000 deaths per day. Wagwan. Now, in terms of other countries, if I can, get that together. I'm only going to say some countries. I'm not going to say all like I normally do. India has 11,063,491. Brazil has 10,455,630. Russia has 4,175,757. UK has 4,175,315. France has 3,746,707. Spain has 3,188,553. Italy has 2,888,923. Turkey has 2,683,971. And Germany has 2,436,506. It's not that good. Now, in terms of the death toll, California has the most deaths for COVID-19, according to the Johns Hopkins website. Because I normally don't say the deaths, but I'm going to say the death toll right here. California has 51,794. New York has 47,389. Because New York had the highest death toll of them all. Now we have the second highest. And who's right behind us is Texas with 43,376. That's 43,376. And Florida, which is the fourth, but somebody say, I'm going to address them later, saying that, Florida's doing a good job with COVID. Not that quite, when they have the fourth highest casualties of COVID-19 at 30,624. So Florida's not doing that great. And they didn't put their recovery stuff out. They haven't been recording their numbers because of the governor, Ron DeSantis, who's supposed to be doing a good job, is not doing a good job. And then comes Pennsylvania at 23,895. New Jersey has 23,192. Illinois has 22,000. Hey, Sean. 675. And then Georgia has 17,219. So you have places like Texas. No, Texas did put out their recovery rate, but we don't know that's true. Florida and Georgia has not give their recovery numbers out there. So, yeah. So that tells you something right there. Now, in terms of the confirmed cases for individual states, I'm only going to name top 10 because I'm not going to be doing the whole nonchalada. Okay. So California has 3,558,567, followed by Texas 2,644,221. Florida has 1,898,215, but Florida's doing a good job. New York has 1,628,255. Illinois has 1,186,877. Georgia is about to be in the millions at 976,400. Ohio has 964,380. Pennsylvania has 931,099. North Carolina has 860,311. And Arizona rounds out that top 10 with 815,345. That's that. But in terms of a national strategy, I said it, I think a couple days ago, that Joe Biden had secured 200 million more doses of the vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine or the Moderna, one of them. So that will be coming very soon. In terms of, there's over, I think, nearly 20 million people that got vaccinated, I believe, but that's still not the whole U.S. population. And Johnson & Johnson, by the FDA just approved another vaccine from Johnson & Johnson due to the clinical trials. So there is a strategy. So within these 30 days since the Biden and Harris administration, you see there's stuff that got done. Not like crazy, like over the top, but they got stuff done. This is more effective than what the quote unquote Trump administration have done. Why are you criticizing the Trump administration, Chantay? Because the Trump administration did not have a national strategy. Yeah, they had vaccines roll out in December, but still, you did not have a national lockdown. States were on their own, including the state of New York. And you sent out COVID relief, but a lot of people didn't get their $1,200 checks. And there's people that didn't get the second round of stimulus, which was half of the first COVID stimulus, which is $600. And a lot of businesses did not get the PPP money. Find out a lot of the PPP money went to Trump's companies as well as Jared Kushner's companies. So black and brown businesses were left out, and most businesses, especially small businesses, and New York City in particular has a lot of small businesses. So a lot of small businesses have went under. And other black and brown businesses here in the United States have went under. They have closed for good. I mean, New York had one of their top highest retailers and sport retailers. Modell's is no longer in existence. And that store has been around for over 130 years. And that's New York history. Century 21 is another place that has gone out of business. So that's devastating. Isn't it? Yeah. But that's Trump's legacy. And because there's a lot of cities that are, that is in desperate need of relief money. And speaking of the relief, this COVID relief, the Biden Rescue Plan, which is $1.9 trillion, including the $1,400 stimulus that was supposed to have been passed, the money for vaccination, more money for testing, more money for schools to reopen safely, and more money for states, and of course the $15 minimum wage. Because I'm about to get into that in a minute. Now, with this relief, it will actually help small businesses. And it will actually give people stimulus money. But we don't know if it's monthly or consistent. I'm not quite sure. But it's going to be another rounds of this because people have been waiting for their second round of stimulus money. Their third round of stimulus since January. Who's responsible for holding that up? The former House Majority Leader, now Senate Minority Leader, Addison Mitchell McConnell. Now, in terms of the $15 minimum wage, this is a tricky thing. So the check should be, that's what I'm hoping. With the $15 minimum wage, it's like a sticky situation. It's like, how can I say this? Because my senator now is the majority leader. I feel like he needs to be a little tougher. Because I know what's in him. Some people are doubting his leadership. I'm a little concerned, I'm not even going to lie, as my senator. However, as much as convincing as anybody in the Democratic caucus can do, you're still going to have a problem out of Joseph Manchin III. Because Joseph Manchin III is trying to appease his corporate donors and his middle to upper class white constituents. But he doesn't realize most of the constituents of his state are poor. And Shelley Caputo ain't doing shit. So it really kind of is like it's all up to Joe Manchin, right? You just recently was voted in not too long ago. And you're opposing a minimum wage that actually can help the constituents in your state. Because there's a 16% poverty rate in his state. He has the highest poverty rate at that in this country. West Virginia. Back country. And you can't get your people, you don't want to get your people stimulus. So to Mr. Joseph Manchin III, who was not only opposing minimum wage, who was opposing the filibuster, to kill the filibuster, and opposing near attendance confirmation. So I have one question for Joseph Manchin III. What the hell is your problem? You was okay with voting for Richard Grenell, who said nasty things about politicians' children, both on the Democratic and Republican side. He talked about the former first lady, one of the former first ladies. Let's see, Jefferson Sessions, who has a record of being a racist and advocating for racist policies, opposing substantial immigration and birthright citizenship. Let's see, Brett Kavanaugh, who is a sexual assaulter of more than one woman. He had no problems confirming them. And other unexperienced Trump appointees, whether it was in the judicial system or whether it was in the previous cabinet. But you have a problem opposing an experienced progressive to a cabinet who is qualified because all she said some mean fucking tweets about sitting senators. That's actually true. And some Democratic or independent senators and even some progressive pundits. Oh, yeah. She's right. Were some of them were mean? Yeah, but it was deserved. Because they showing their ass right now. So once again, Joseph Manchin. Why the fuck you mad? Is it because you came for your daughter? Because your daughter raised the price on EpiPens? Allergy medicine that kids need? Because if people don't have their EpiPen and can't afford their EpiPen, they die? Are you serious? Joseph? Joseph Manchin III, at least with your fucked up background since being in the Senate, the least that you can do, besides the fact that you voted for the ACA, that was fine, and acquitted Donald Trump, that was fine, you can pass some fucking minimum wage. And $15 is still not a lot. It's $31,200 a year. I got that from before. It was not too long ago, 4 years ago, I made $15 an hour. But you know what? A boost is helpful. A boost is helpful. I'm mainly getting at Joe Manchin because I feel like Kristen Sinema can be talking down to, not just by the Senate Majority Leader, but her constituents might stick it to her this weekend since she's home. They might, accost her, which accosting is not right, but she could be conformed. But this message is for Joseph Manchin in particular. Cut the fucking bullshit and do something meaningful for a change for your constituents and pass that $15 minimum wage. Even if you gotta help write an amendment, even if it's not passed in a COVID relief, at least help to get your constituents to pass a COVID relief bill. And not just leave my rant as there. I'll talk about these group of people in a minute, but so the CPAC is this weekend, which is the Conservative Action. I forgot what it stands for. Let me look it up because I got to see what CPAC stands for because I thought I almost had it right, but it left my brain somewhere. So I'd like to know what CPAC stands for. Conservative Political Action Conference. CPAC has been around for a very long time. So CPAC has been around since 1973. And one of the prominent speakers at CPAC was Ronald Reagan himself. People who say they are the party of Reagan. I don't want to be in that party. Reagan was full of shit. Of course, George W. Bush spoke. Knucklehead Donald Trump spoke. And he's speaking again. And you know who spoke as well? John McCain back in 2008. But let Meghan tell you, her father was never invited to speak at CPAC. Yes, he was. There's video evidence of that. Because he is a conservative after all. Right? He's more conservative than George W. Bush and Donald Trump. I wish people would stop lying. I wish she would stop lying. Because Meghan McCain, you had a very bad week at The View. And you embarrassed yourself. I mean, you called for the firing of Dr. Fauci, which Dr. Vin Gupta gathered you. Then you started saying stuff about the governor of New York, my governor, which we know he could be a mess. But if it wasn't for him, millions of New Yorkers would have died from COVID. Because after all, it's almost 10 million people that live in the city. Then you said stuff about the Democratic Party. You even tried to comfort the press secretary, which she gathered you. Because you think that she put kids in cages, the administration, which obviously they didn't. And you made yourself look like an asshole again about getting the vaccine. And they told you, you will get one by the summer. So, Miss McCain, this is for you. Stop embarrassing yourself on national television. It's not a good look. You're making yourself look like a whole entire fool. I mean, you've always been a clueless one, but you just got more clueless over the years on The View. So stop embarrassing yourself. Please and thank you. But back to the Republicans. You had insurrectionists with an S. Insurrectionists with an S. Had to say it correctly. Of Rafael Cruz and Joshua Hawley making a complete ass of themselves. Many insurrectionists, or soon to be an insurrectionist, Madison Cawthorn. You had D. Roy something, one of the black conservatives who basically being a cheerleader for the white supremacist, the former white supremacist New York con artist from Queens in chief. Let's see who else who spoke. That got on my nerves. Oh, and you had Matthew Schlapp, Mr. Pillsbury Doughboy, who still can't come to terms that his favorite president caused the insurrection at the Capitol. Because Jim Acosta made sure he pressed him on it. And a whole host of other deplorables there. So this conservative political action conference is a complete joke. It was more of, I'm going to use Donald Trump Jr., who was also another speaker there, good Lord, CPAC. It was the Trump political action conference. Because there was no conservative talking about conservative policies, which honestly, conservative policies to me is pretty much a joke, because you guys are not talking about globalism. You guys are not talking about pro-life. You guys are not talking about being humanitarians. You guys are not talking about foreign policy. All you are talking about is election, quote unquote, election fraud, which that did not fucking happen, because 81 million people voted for Joseph Robinette Biden and Kamala Davy Harris. And I'm one of them 81 million people. So this talk about you are for the conservative or the conservatism, it's a complete bullshit ass lie. And whoever propped these motherfuckers up, you are enablers of white supremacy, insurrection, and domestic terrorism. And extremism. So take that one. Now to a last topic. Leftists. I'm not talking about all leftists. Because do I think all leftists is bad? Not really. Gotta put that out there because, some people getting their little feelings and shit. White leftist men, in particular. Those with the mega platforms that I'm speaking to. Let's help you out. It's a little basic lesson. There are 3 branches of government. Legislative branch, make and pass the laws. Executive branch, enforce the laws. Judicial branch, interprets the law. So once again, legislative branch, that considers Congress. The 2 houses. Well, the 2, the Senate, the House of Representatives. Those who make and pass the laws. Executive branch is the presidency, the president and the vice president. They enforce the laws. So once the laws are made and passed by the legislative branch, it goes to the executive branch, which is the president's desk. And he enforces it by putting his dotted signature on the bill. That's how it's enforced. The only time they actually put out an executive action if it's necessary, or basically when the legislative branch can't get their shit together. Judicial branch interprets the law. They interpret the Constitution and other acts that becomes law. So, I hope that is explained properly so people can understand. I may be right, I may be wrong, whatever. But to the white leftist men with the blue checks, this is for you. That's how the government works. If you need more, you can always watch Schoolhouse of Rock. Or better yet, read a book. Do some internet research. No Wikipedia. That's a bad source. It's history.com. There's pbs.org. There's all these historical websites you can look on and read. Because it seems like you motherfuckers don't understand how U.S. government works. Do I think it's right? Not so. Not for people that look like me because I'm black. But obviously, you feel like you need your just due. You want your $15 an hour minimum wage, which most of you leftist blue checks make over $1 million a year. So why are you advocating for that when knowing good and damn well you don't give a fuck about people that make $15 an hour because you make $1 million a year? You even charge your fan base $10 to $15 per month for membership of your trashy ass podcasts. And even some of the leftist white women with the blue checks and some of the leftist black ones with the blue checks. You guys are in this category too. Because you're just as bad as the leftist white men. You are. So that's how government works. So, screaming on Twitter, talking about the vice president needs to overrule the Senate parliamentarian. She's not going to do that. That's not her job. It's the job of the Senate to get their shit together. And to my senator, who is the Senate majority leader, as much as I advocate for you, you really need to talk to Joseph Manchin III and tell him to get his fucking shit together. Krista Sinema will get her shit together after she gets a talking to from her constituents. But Joseph Manchin, you need to tell him to get his shit together. Because Joseph Manchin will be a holdup for this presidency and this administration. And people ain't having it. We're not having it. At all. Now to the other leftist men on Twitter who are just being trolls and decide they want to put racist comments in my tweets. Let me just explain something to you. I went to school for business and I minored in history. U.S. history at that. That's what I concentrated on within my minor. And I can tell you, the president and the vice president is not responsible for passing legislation to make sure you get your money. No, there's something called a legislative branch. It's 3 branches of government. They're supposed to balance each other out. Put a check on each other. And the Senate and the House make and pass the laws. And they need to be passed through the legislative branch so the executive branch can enforce it. Now, if there's anything wrong with legislation, which nothing's wrong with this legislation, then the judicial branch will seize on it to interpret it. I hope you understand that logic. If I'm wrong, someone let me know. Because that's how I think it is balanced. So attacking me and saying that I'm a shill, I'm a centrist, I'm a corporate Democrat establishment kind of person, you can kiss my motherfucking ass and suck a whole... Or better yet, you can take a middle finger. Because I'm not here to like you. And you're not here to like me. So within that being said, stay the fuck out my mentions. Okay? And talk to your congressional representation. Call your senators, if they are Democratic or Republican. And take some of your frustrations out on Bernie Sanders, who is the budget chairman in the Senate, who knows that he could not overrule the Senate parliamentarian because it was explained today on television that nobody in the history of the Senate tried to increase the minimum wage of in a budget reconciliation resolution. Passing the minimum wage was more like a separate bill and making it into law. And Bernie Bernie Sanders had a bill for that, but I don't know what happened. He didn't follow through. I think this is the time that you should follow through, because the fiscal year is coming up in July, and he will want their increases. And the increase is not going to take full effect right away. It's in increments, like how it's in here in New York. How we got to $15 minimum, the minimum wage here in New York was there was a bill that was signed back, I don't know, back in 2015 or 2016, and the minimum wage just kept rising through. Oh, was it 2014? It was one of them years. It was so long ago. But the governor basically, with a Republican state legislator at the time before it went fully Democratic, passed the minimum wage in stages. So different parts of the state has a different minimum wage. Like if you go to Westchester, it's $14, or to like Long Island, I think it's 13 or 14. In the city, it's 15. Upstate is a little less. It's like 13, 12, but, or was it 13? I'm not quite as sure. But yeah, different places in the state have different minimum wage increments. So, I mean, yeah. That's why you never sit out of small elections. You can't sit out in no election, honestly, at all, because your voice matters. And if you didn't learn in the age of COVID, I don't know what to tell you. So I hope you take this mini civics lesson into consideration. But until then, folks, you have a lovely and wonderful night. Take care of yourselves.